Hey everybody, what's going on? This is your broadcaster MasterCloud, and welcome back to all of you guys to another cast of The Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth through the Rise of the Witch King. Today's matchup, a special game indeed. It is going to be a 2 versus 2, not on the Fords of Isen 2, but rather on something called the Fords of Isen 4, I believe. This map is a custom-made special map by this player himself right here, spawning in the upper left-hand side in the red color. It is going to be the player Lazarus. He is playing as goblins. His opponent spawning directly to his right here, or excuse me, not his opponent, but his ally spawning directly to his right here is going to be Sayang, and he is, of course, spawning as the dwarves. Now, their opponents across the fords is going to be the player... Bushit. Wow, I didn't realize this game actually featured Bushit, so that's even more of a surprise to me. And he is going to be playing the race of Agmar. His ally spawning slightly to his right as elves. It is going to be the player JeePers. Now, all of these players very talented at this game. And I'm excited to see what strategies they'll utilize on this sort of edited version of the map, originally Fords of Isen. So as you guys can see, a outpost has been added to the map. There is that warg lair, actually an additional warg lair as well being added in front of that outpost, not allowing players to immediately capture the outpost with their first units. They have to deal with the warg pit, the warg lair first before they can begin capturing that outpost. But it's going to be the elves here. JeePers going to be taking the outpost for the southern side here, and to the north it looks like it's the goblins, Lazarus himself, going to be claiming this outpost, which he placed on the map while he was editing it. Big shout out to Lazarus, actually, both for recommending that I cast this game as well as creating this pretty awesome map. It doesn't. It was kind of a surprise to some people in the community that it actually worked out, but we have been having a lot of fun on this map. It's as you can obviously tell, similar to Fords of Isen, but there are extra paths, extra warg pits, things like that on the map. So it does add some more dynamics to the map, as well as, of course, lengthens it, as you guys can see here, much larger than the original 1 versus 1 version. Before we get too far into this game, guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed that very recent tournament. Actually, the gold being stolen here by the goblins. That's going to be a great pickup by Lazarus. What is Bushit going for? It looks like for additional Gundabad warriors for now. I believe he was able to take out the outpost of Lazarus. But I hope you guys enjoyed that very recent tournament that was hosted by GameReplays.org. I did cast a ton of those games from that tournament. If you guys haven't seen them, definitely go check them out. Especially would recommend... I believe the finals game 1 was really great, and also I really enjoyed, I believe it was the first game between Andy and May Shadow. I really personally enjoyed that game, so if you guys have not seen either of those, definitely take the time, check it out. Also, I'm interested in hearing what you guys would like to see more of on my channel, so at this point in time, if you have a second, please, or have an opinion, please, pause the video, go down below, leave a comment below. What do you want to see more of on my channel? Do you want to see 1v1s? Do you want to see 4v4s? Do you want to see 2v2s? Do you want to see patch 2.01? Do you want to see patch 2.02? Of course, this is being played on patch 2.02 right now. Of course, that entire tournament also being hosted in patch 2.02. But I'm curious if you guys, do you want to see, custom hero maps? All potential things that can be brought to my channel, as I'm not very... picky in terms of what I like to cast. I do, of course, very much enjoy casting tournaments. However, I'm not opposed to doing different sorts of casts as well. So I am interested to hear what you guys, as part of the community, are interested in watching. And of course, I will be able to try and put that out for you if enough of you guys are interested in something that you would like to see on my channel. As, of course, I do read all the comments that come in on my channel pretty much immediately when you guys post them. So that is something that will definitely be read by me. If you guys have an opinion and are interested in seeing something specific on my channel, I'd love to hear about it. But anyways, back to the game here. It looks like a slight skirmish to the north. These dwarves from Sayang here going to be killed off by the majority of elves here. Actually have a Haldir out here as well now for the elves, going for a pretty early hero, I would say. We have a ton of goblins now moving out across the river from Lazarus. He is trying to put the pressure here on Bushit, who appears to have very surprising lack of forces defending here. That's why he has gone for the level 3 Hall of the King's Men. That is going to give him the advantage of getting these Dark Rangers out on the field, who immediately will begin to deal a ton of terrible, terrible damage to these Goblin Warriors, which will be taken down quite quickly. There, those Goonabad Warriors, of course, assisting in that defense. Manages to take out a builder up front, though. That's going to be a great pickoff for Lazarus here as he continues to push forward into the front of Bushit's base, beginning to put on the pressure. Bushit's ally, JeePers, now moving in with a couple of troops of his own to provide some reinforcement to his ally. To the north, a secret hidden force is moving along the path here. Will be able to pick up potentially a mine or two, maybe some dwarves as well. Could steal the resources from that war glare if it's possible, I suppose, if he gets there in time. Looks like Lazarus not going to be engaging directly with these forces, rather deciding to go for an attack on some of the buildings. Would be great if he has some sort of rally call that he could throw down right here. It looks like, yes, he does in fact have that available, so he will throw down the war chant. Of course, he is focusing down that level 3 barracks. Would love to take that out if possible, prevent any additional Dark Rangers going on the field. However, the Dark Rangers are up to level 2. That does give them the long shot ability. Could launch it right here, taking out a massive horde of goblins if Bushit realizes it. I'm not sure that he realizes his troops are up to level 2 at this point. So for now, it looks like he'll just focus these units down with the fortress and his Dark Rangers' normal attack. And while the building did take a little bit of extra damage, he does save that long shot ability for later, potentially, if those units are, of course, are not killed before, if they're not killed before they get the chance to use it. Now to the north, an additional mine going to be canceled here. These Elven forces doing a pretty good job of clearing the top side of the map. As you can see, someone was able to claim that gold from that war glare. These elves getting a little bit out of position. Actually, you're going to get sandwiched here between a ton of dwarves, between a ton of goblins. That even though elves should be able to easily deal with goblins, not in this quantity and not surrounded like this. Of course, you want the Lorien warriors in the front with the archers in the back, but the archers are taking on the goblins face first right now. You can see those archers going down incredibly quickly. The rally call goes down here by the Dwarven player to help his ally. Glowin now showing up for the battle as well. Haldir trying to pick off as many goblins as he possibly can, but with his limited force, what can he really do against such evil? He has cleared out the right side. Of course, he was focusing down that first, securing his own retreat path, and here comes Bushit with some additional troops to aid his ally here in trouble with the reinforcement. Glowin going a little bit far ahead here. Needs to utilize that slam ability if he gets the chance. Might be chasing down a Thrallmaster. I think right now he's just trying to get him out of range of those archers. There goes a great spell. The Whirlwind ability with the long shot. That is exactly what he was saving that for. And with that, a ton of goblins go down. An incredible play there by our Angmar player. The Wildman summon, though, on the archers here in the back from the goblin player Lazarus is going to cut this attack quite short. It looked like for a second there that they would be able to push forward, but I think with this reinforcing summon, all of their troops are going to be taken out here. And did Haldir actually manage to survive? Yes, Haldir retreating from the battlefield like a coward does choose to run. Actually, Legolas now being produced as well. The reason he can get so many units out, so many hero units out, is because he's making so much money because he has this outpost. I'm actually interested to see, yes, Lazarus did repair his outpost as well. This war pit actually not being destroyed. It's left up right now to prevent any enemy units from capturing that outpost. An interesting strategy utilized there by Lazarus, or perhaps he just doesn't want the income at this point in time. These pikemen running way too far forward. I'm not sure what they were thinking there, but all of those going to get taken out almost immediately by those wildmen. Haldir and Legolas picking off these goblins at an alarming rate. However, there is an alarming amount of them. Summon goes down right there. I believe that was a summon. Oh, it's just by the Thrallmaster. I thought Haldir was potentially on the field right now. Haven't seen a Haldir yet produced by Bushit, but we have now seen a what is this? A Twilight Council, I believe, or Temple of the Twilight. Structure there to begin producing sorcerers. Not something that you see very often from Angmar, as the sorcerers were pretty much nerfed pretty hard in patch 2.02 version 4, the one we are playing on here. As the sorcerers now need to be incredibly close to your opponent in order to cast those spells, and of course Well of Souls, one of the best spells in the game, no doubt, has been moved to level 3 instead of a level 2 ability. Glowin getting a nice hit off there on a couple of those elves, but he's going to have to fall back, especially with all of these high damage elves here shooting in the back. Glowin desperately trying to return to his fellow dwarves, which will provide some protection from him. Legolas still chasing him down. Glowin, I think he should get away at this point in time. Is on the defensive stance to reduce that incoming damage. Legolas actually still shooting, manages to get away though just barely. The dwarves now engaging in the river. Do they have an additional rally call they could throw down here? It looks like War Chant could be used by his ally, but his own rally call is not yet up for Sayang. So I think he will in fact lose these dwarves without getting too terribly much damage doing it. And all of a sudden, this army is looking pretty intimidating here, especially with these two heroes in it for our southern team. Lazarus trying a different strategy, going around the south side of the map, something not really utilized at all so far this game. Interested to see how much he will be able to get done by going this way. Right now it looks like he's just focusing on the war glares. Would like to see some heroes out for the goblins. I'm not sure why he's not building holy goblin caves. Lazarus has actually 6 goblin caves set up here, as that is going to be his primary focus this game. A ton of spiderling pits as well around the fortress, trying to secure that. Not sure what he's nervous of attacking it, but actually going for the fire arrows right off the bat. Thought he might go up to the forged blades or the scavenge armor based on how many goblins he has out in the field. Does have a group of spider riders out as well. I didn't see the spider pit. I thought that just went up. Oh, he has an additional one up here. So he now has actually 2 spider pits as well. That is an interesting choice by Lazarus there. We'll be switching into cavalry mode. But once again, the spells go down by Bushit to take advantage of these troops. The spell goes down by the Angmar summoners. I believe that was the the full strength spell. If I were to guess, the black ice one, I believe, freezes your opponent. It's actually a funny story. Oh, I'm sorry, the soul freeze maybe freezes your opponent. Funny story, I used to use soul freeze all the time. If you guys remember, in patch 2.01, the dwarven heroes were so incredibly overpowered that as soon as you got them out on the field, it was basically game over. You could run them in and just destroy pretty much anything you wanted to. They had so many heals and so much dealt so much power that what I would do as Angmar when facing dwarfs, actually Glowin goes down there. Legolas is going to grab some experience for that. But what I would do is build like 4 Angmar sorcerers and literally cast that freezing spell on the dwarven heroes endlessly, so that they would be constantly frozen. It took a ton of micro, but it was totally worth it because you would freeze, King Dane, Glowin, Gimli, all of the heavy hitter dwarf heroes, and just freeze them forever, basically, and try and win the game while they were frozen without bothering to take them out, because you just couldn't take them out. That was really sort of the basics of it, or the unless you had you had to have some really powerful heavy unit hitters out, or maybe get some like Black Riders or something. There was just no way that those units were going down. Those heroes were going down if they were at high levels, and if they came marching into your base. It was pretty much GG. But anyways, back to this game here. The pressure continues on the southern side. Looks like the majority of Lazarus' troops here will get deterred from doing significant damage. Legolas and Haldir still doing a significant amount of damage here, being a huge pester in the top of the dwarven player's base. Could turn around and begin taking care of some of these mines. Actually only 2 up there for him to deal with, but actually it looks like he's going to retreat for now. Legolas moves so quickly. Really surprised by his movement speed. Nevertheless, these reinforcements now from JeePers will be moving up to reinforce, of course, Legolas and Haldir and continue this push forward. What we haven't seen in this game so far is siege equipment, but all of these players focusing on specific unit compositions to counter that composition of their opponent. Not really worried about taking out any sort of any sort of the buildings and any sort of surprise attack or anything like that. It's pretty much been pretty straightforward. Yes, we've seen run-bys, we've seen sort of attacks on specific buildings. That Hall of the King's Men for Bushit, and they're actually sitting at pretty good health, is being repaired as we speak, or as I speak here. A huge engagement taking place to the north here, right across the ford. The Goblin's going to get a huge run through with a ton of these spiderlings. The summon goes down in the back here by the Wildman on those Dark Rangers, the level 4 Dark Rangers, might be able to escape, but everyone else at this point pretty much doomed. Tom Bombadil summon goes down. I want to take a look at the powers in just a second. The Spiderling is going to be chasing down as many of these units as they can. The Black Ice Spell goes down in an attempt to, or the Soul Freeze goes down in an attempt to slow or stop those units. Actually, I'm not sure what spell that was. And you can see he tried to time that with the long shot, but the Spider is too quick for it. Managed to escape, and will take out all of these troops, including that Sorcerer there. So he will lose the Sorcerer as well as a ton of his troops. Legolas taking a lot of damage now. The Spiderlings chasing him down as well as the Wildmen in hot pursuit. Haldir might be able to escape as he has a ton more health. Legolas, caught in the back, though, is in a lot of trouble. Where are the reinforcements? Here they come now. Only one group of pikemen in this, though. And these, actually two groups now. The Whirlwind goes down in an attempt to try to stop these Spider Riders. The Rally Call, or the War Chant, goes down to power them up, though, so they don't take that much damage. Here comes a huge attack from Lazarus across the river. Tom Bombadil trailing behind, trying to stop these troops for what he can. Legolas managing to survive. There goes the double shot down. That Spider Rider takes it in the back, will get killed off immediately. Still no heroes from our Goblin player that I've seen on the field. I think Drogoth would probably be a bad choice, but Azog or the Goblin King might be an excellent choice at this point in the game, as seeing as how many goblins he actually has on the field. This builder in a lot of trouble, needs to get pulled out if Bushit realizes it, but it might be too little too late. Just barely, I think, with Tom Bombadil. They are distracting him for a second. Bushit will be able to pull back that builder in time. The outpost to the north going to get taken out by a couple of Spider Riders. The rest of these Spider Riders running a little deep into enemy territory. I think these Merkwards should focus them down, even if a couple of them get taken out. If you can take out some units of Spider Riders, that's going to be an excellent pickup at this stage in the game, as Lazarus is really trying to utilize those Spider Riders right now to their full effect. We do now have a hero out for Bushit. It is going to be the hero Haldir, and we actually have an Ent out now. Is this Treebeard? No, it's just a regular Ent. Where did he build this from? He does finally have an Ent moon on the field, and Treebeard is on the dock for being produced here. About a fourth of the way done. So we will see him on the field relatively soon. King Thranduil now joining the fray as well. Legolas's father, I believe, has joined the battle, and will begin to deal some preliminary damage to these goblins as they attempt a run through. This is not going to end well for the goblins. You can see how upgraded some of these units are, though. They actually have a pretty cool glow. I'm not sure why that is. But nevertheless, they're kind of like glow. You guys see that as they like glow? They're like still like sparkling, like they have like fireworks on their shoes, or maybe they have like those like little shoes that the like little kids like to wear that have like flashing lights on them. Maybe they bought some of those to upgrade their style. But I think all of these Goblin Archers are going to get taken out with doing really minimal damage. Might not even get this Malorn tree. To the north, they will grab this one, and will capture the outpost as well. But a huge additional force here in the center of the map, just behind the ford, is looking to deal a substantial amount of damage to Bushit here in a glorious attack, no doubt. Ton of fire arrows being upgraded to these troops. And here comes the giant attack. Will Bushit have enough to actually engage this? He's going to try. Haldir is in here, does provide the leadership bonus to nearby spearmen and axe throwers, as well as wildmen. But I'm not sure it's going to be enough to deal with this force. Actually, this force not really engaging. Some of the units are, but the majority of the army is breaking off and heading to the east here. I'm not sure exactly what they're going for. I think they'd want to start focusing down some of Bushit's infrastructure here. The Elves' main army has been caught up on the right side, attempting to deal with all of these troops. Actually, one Goblin Archer remains and will take out this Malorn tree. Wow. And grabs a level from that, so he will begin to respawn units. Treebeard now out on the field, though. Level 10, I believe he spawns that way. And these units will begin to engage the goblins. However, the goblins have fire. The trees take a substantial more amount of damage from fire arrows than from regular arrows. So he is going to want to be careful here, bringing these trees to these Ents to the forefront of this battle. looks like most of Bushit's army actually survived that small engagement with the goblins here. And I think this goblin army has sort of overstayed its welcome at this point. They are focusing down Treebeard as much as they can, but with Bushit's spells and micro, that goblin attack is going to come to a very quick close. I saw Glowin running at some point. Looks like Prince Bran now being built for Lazarus as well. Here's Glowin in the center. We actually have a Balrog summon. Who has a Balrog already? It is going to be Lazarus. He went straight for that 25 power, and I cannot believe that he is already at 25 powers. Look at Sayang. He doesn't even have his 10 power yet, and somehow Lazarus is up to 25. Bushit sitting at a 15 power. It looks like that went down earlier. But Lazarus here taking control of this game, able to deal enough damage from using his units to really excel in his power points here. And the Balrog here going to be an incredibly scary beast here. So at such an early stage in the game, really for the other players in terms of power points. The Balrog now actually leaving, not destroying the end, but would have finished that off first, but I guess he is going to be working on some buildings over here instead. Wants to take down the Temple of Twilight with a single swipe of his mighty sword. That in fact goes down. The mine shaft goes down now as well from Sayang. He is beginning to launch a huge attack here on the front of Bushit's base. Where is Bushit's troops? I think the majority of them have been killed off. The Balrog actually falls, has taken enough damage, but it dealt a significant amount of damage, able to take out that fully upgraded barracks for the elves. The Enmoot taking extreme damage. The dwarves' attack, however, has been thwarted. The mine is now down. The forward mine shaft, Prince Bran has taken substantial damage and actually will go down here as these units chase him down. The Ents, now an additional Ent out on the field. I think Treebeard did fall during that battle. However, additional Ents on the field have replaced him. But our team in the lower right hand side, look at this unit of Goblin Archers now all the way up. This is what you get for not completely finishing off a unit. I think a critical mistake there. Surprisingly, not something that looked like was going to be a huge factor in the game. Is actually still in the back of JeePers' base, pestering him. And this attack from Lazarus, or these attacks from Lazarus, are beginning to wear away at the lower right-hand corner players. Bushit and JeePers in, I would say at this point, a critical condition in terms of their chances of winning this game. They are on life support at this point. They need to win a decisive battle. They need to push back against the enemy forces and potentially take out some infrastructure of their opponents. But what can they really do against all of the goblins that Lazarus is pumping out? They can barely keep up with taking them out. Lazarus now almost up to an additional 15 power if he so chooses. I believe the darkness spell is in the middle though, so he should be able to save up for that second level 25 power. Sayang still sitting at pretty low amount of power points, as his dwarves haven't really been able to get in and deal the sort of damage that he's been hoping for. A summon goes down in the back of JeePers' base. His troops have been are out on the map right now to the north, trying to push forward with those heroes. But his base here pretty much undefended. A group of pikemen, Mifflin sentries, as well as Tom Bombadil have been called in an attempt to save it. The spell, the building freeze spell, goes down by his ally. There's the whirlwind and the arrow drop once again. Bushit utilizing that to such great effect the entire game long, and it looks like with the help of his ally, JeePers here, going to be able to secure his base and allow that push on the north to continue. This is going to be critical, I think, to this team coming back if they are able to. This push needs to materialize into something powerful, something incredibly annoying here to the north that our northern players have to deal with at some point. He needs to pull the gaze of his opponents away from the fortress of Bushit, away from the attack, and rather on to the defense. I think is going to be what he needs to, or what the southern team needs to do in this needs to do in this case. However, Lazarus is not going to have any of it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's a huge like fire engine driving by my fire truck driving by my house right now outside. But anyways, Lazarus is not going to have any of it. He is pushing forward with all of these goblins. Throws down, actually Blight is thrown here down by Bushit. And this is incredibly effective against dwarfs, as they have very little health to begin with. You can see these units transforming to whites at an alarming rate. My game is hopefully not going to freeze here, as the amount of graphics or power this takes is quite alarming. I'm trying to zoom in here to reduce the amount on the screen here, but I think a majority of these troops are just going to get taken out by that Blight spell, and that's a genius spell. Bushit realizing that spell is going to be super effective against the strategy that Lazarus is going. Some of the goblins surviving here to the south will begin to work on that level 3 Hall of the King's Men, something that Bushit would like to keep alive if at all possible. The Eagles have been summoned to the north. The catapults have been taken out. A majority of the Elven forces have been killed. However, King Dane does not want to engage in this battle. Might get taken out here immediately. Wow, does not even get off of level 1. These Eagles, Ents, and Heroes doing an incredible amount of damage. Legolas now up to level 8, actually used that rain of arrows, or excuse me, arrow wind ability. Somehow, some way, Lazarus' troops here to the south able to take out that Hall of the King's Men, and once again, Lazarus able to keep a few units alive and that are able to do a very critical amount of damage. Bushit not focusing on these like he should have been, not sort of throwing in the hat, or not throwing in the hat, but kind of throwing in the towel, saying, yeah, these units, they're there, but they're not really going to do the sort of damage I expect them to. But by not focusing them down like that, they really came into play, and that is a hard loss, losing your level 3 Hall of the King's Men, especially when he's already struggling for income. However, our units here to the north continuing to push forward, and Ent remains, so they do have some building damage potential. The goblins now moving out as well. Lazarus now producing mountain giants in an attempt to deal with some of the bigger structures of his opponents. To the north, these elven troops now moving to the south to aid a couple units of Angmar here. But really, this elven force has been pretty dwindled down. Just a couple of units left. Legolas still unable to be dealt with. However, by himself, I think these Spider Riders should be able to overpower him if they choose to. The Mountain Giants actually retreating now. I'm not sure if he doesn't want to reveal them, or if he doesn't really think they'll be very effective against this army, because they probably won't be against a single unit targets. They're not the best. They're, of course, obviously the best at taking out structures. 4 Ents from our player JeePers, able to produce so many because, of course, he has that outpost giving him a ton of additional income. Here comes a couple of Mountain Giants from the center. That's going to be a little bit of a mistake, as one will go down very quickly to Legolas and some of these Mirkwood Archers. However, these level 5 Mirkwood Archers beginning to be attacked by these Goblins. However, it looks like he did realize that and took a few of them out. Gloin now returning with a few more dwarfs from the north, the goblins from the south as well, and these troops need to get out of there very quickly. Would love to save the level 5 Mirkwood Archers if possible, but I think those are going to get killed. Legolas and Thranduil as well as Haldir are able to make their way through. Thranduil now up to level 3. Does want to get up a little bit higher to utilize some of these additional attacks that he has, these additional abilities. The level 5 Mirkwoods looks like they will finally go down. Additional groups of Mirkwoods do show up to protect them here. Lazarus continuing to push forward with this force. However, to the south, a secret hidden force of 4 Mountain Giants, one sort of playing the caboose here way far in the back, but these 3 moving forward. This is going to be spotted using these mills here by our Angmar player Bushit. But the mills get taken out immediately by all 3 rocks here. And I'm not sure he has any forces down here to deal with this. He needs to pull down these units right away to begin to deal with these Mountain Giants. You do not want to let them begin throwing rocks at your fortress, as it will go down at an alarming rate. I think Bushit now realizes that the Elven player has not, though. He is pushing forward, when I really think he needs to be aiding his ally right now. Here comes the rocks. As you can see, 3 rocks takes it down quite quickly. throws down the building freeze though in an attempt to prevent additional damage being done. The summon dragon ability goes down by Lazarus though. I believe that's by Lazarus, as he is now up to his second 25 power, as the dwarves have such a great power point tree. These giants going to get taken out here pretty quickly. Actually, a white summon goes down in an attempt to hold this attack off by Bushit. So I think the mountain giants here going to be killed off. That dragon repositioning himself actually up front here to take out a lot of these this elven attack, as he realized his attack to the south was going to fail, but the attack to the north here failing for the elves. The summon dragon ability incredibly powerful against those types of units, actually pretty much against every type of unit. The summon dragon really deals just a substantial damage to pretty much everything. Will reposition it once again, potentially maybe over here. Looks like right here in the front on some of these Noldor warriors from the Third Age. We'll get the fire breath attack off on them. The Ent takes extra damage from that fire attack as well. Looks like a couple Noldor warriors surviving in the front. I spoke way too soon. The Ent and the Noldor warriors go down. King Thranduil now up to level 4. Haldir at level 9. Glorfindel being built as well. Legolas now at 9. Has taken some damage though from that dragon. Needs to retreat from him if possible. Time is almost up though. And actually manages to take out Thranduil. So that summon dragon being utilized to maximum effect there by Lazarus. Excellent control. Is any other player close to their 25 power? Potentially the elves getting up to that flood ability rather soon. Lazarus now can begin to spend his additional power points at level 15 rather than at level 25. How close is he to getting that Balrog return? Actually, 3/4 of the way there, so we could see an additional Balrog being summoned in this game rather soon, as a matter of fact. And somehow this battle is continuing to rage on. The lower right-hand team able to survive, the end pit actually being repaired at this point. Some very high-level barracks here as well. Potentially the Balrog could focus those down when summoned, if there's not an army on the field that he has to, is summoned to deal with. To this side, it looks like Haldir pushing forward. Bushit making an attempted attack here. These troops are really not that strong for this late phase of the game. However, his opponent isn't really building that strong of units either. It's just going to be, again, the goblin units for Lazarus. That's something he's been focusing on all game. Has not even bothered, or excuse me, he has bothered to build a Fisher, but hasn't bothered to produce anything other than mountain giants from it. Of course, the siege unit. So hasn't gone up for the half-troll swordsman, hasn't utilized the marauders at all. Not that he's necessarily needed them, as we haven't seen a lot of cavalry from either of his, or rather any cavalry from either of his opponents. The Dwarven Zealots now being produced by the Dwarven player, and they can take down heroes quite quickly. Glorfindel able to escape though, and the Elven heroes able to focus them down with their with their very powerful single-shot attacks there. I'm not sure what that spell was about. Who is he throwing? Oh, he's throwing this at this one Dwarven Zealot who's just like charging through the ranks here after Glorfindel, but he will finally get taken out there. The Dwarven catapults have now been upgraded with that flaming shot ability. You guys can see just how powerful or scary that looks. Just imagine looking up and seeing a flaming cannonball shot coming at you. And of course does deal a very significant amount of damage to structures. The mountain giant will fall here. These elven heroes, incredibly effective this game. Could use Arrow Wind right here on all of these goblins. Might want to save it for a little bit later. The darkness spell goes down by Lazarus. And I just realized that that darkness spell is what is most likely triggering the special effects on these glow-in-the-dark goblins. As that, of course, gives does it give your units a boost? Let's check this. All ally units gain 33% damage and 33% armor, so that is in fact exactly what that effect is from. And with that darkness bonus now down, actually, this attack is starting to look to be pretty scary on the south side. The elves moving through the center here, but they will encounter some resistance here. rather quickly, as the flaming catapult now almost in range. As you can see, not quite in range, as it couldn't quite make it there. However, will reposition slightly and begin to attack. Actually attacks Glorfindel. I don't think that's the right shot. Go for the Mirkwood Archers. If anything, Glorfindel going to be able to focus that catapult now down. However, on the south side, here comes Lazarus with a huge force. Has moved in with a large amount of Goblin Warriors, Goblin Fire Archers, the Goblin Spider Riders, and the Goblin the Mountain Trolls. The Balrog summon goes down. It was used to stop that Elvish attack in the center. And it looks like now he will be repositioning the Balrog slowly but surely, using that Wings ability. Is moving in for a final attack here on Bushit's base. I think he has should have this attack in the hand if he protects the Mountain Giants. He needs to protect the Mountain Giants for that building damage. Needs to focus down these Mirkwood Archers as quickly as possible. Might lose a Mountain Giant. Those Spider Riders managing to get through just in time, though. The Mountain Giant will survive, and he needs to march these forward and begin focusing down immediately on that fortress. The Balrog now whipping the Witch King, who has been produced by Bushit. We've barely seen any heroes from him all the game, and now he has gone for the Witch King of Agmar. It is not often you see this hero out on the field. Now the fortress is in range. There goes a couple of the rock throws down. Does most likely have that building freeze should he choose to use it. Actually, we'll have to take a look here. Actually sitting at 18 power points, does have the Snowbind, but I'm not sure he wants to use it right now because he realizes there might not be any hope. Looks like Legolas able to take out those Mountain Giants with the fire, or with the Arrowwind, but the Balrog still doing a lot of damage here in the back of his base. Still has a little bit of time remaining, able to take out many of these structures, dealing damage to the Eregian Forge as well. The Balrog now moving on to the level 3 mill, able to take that out in a single slam. And the Forge should go down here as well. That is going to prevent those Mirkwoods from buying that Silverthorn upgrade, that so very powerful Silverthorn upgrade. The Balrog with a final swing there will take that out. The fortress survives for now, but I don't know for how long. Lazarus continuing to make these pushes. These goblins now working on a couple of Malorn trees here to the north. Glorfindel attempting to stop them. He has taken a significant amount of damage. The Elvish heroes, so powerful. They've been alive all game. However, other than maybe King Thranduil, who died earlier, but basically Lazarus has just shrugged these heroes off. He's basically said, I don't care if you have the heroes out, I'm still going to be mass producing units. Your heroes don't have the ability to take out a massive amount of units quickly. Yes, your heroes will survive, they'll get to high levels, but even if they do, I'm still going to have a ton of troops that you're not going to be able to deal with quickly enough. And Lazarus continuing to push forward with more troops now here to the south, is going for that Forge Blades upgrade on these troops, so they will begin to deal additional damage. You can see those blades begin to glow here. Let's take a look at some of the income. JeePers sitting at 1,500 about, Lazarus at 2K, Sayang at 1,500, and Bushit sitting at about 1,000. All these players, no one has a huge bank. Everyone has a little bit of money to toy with, but not a ton. The Elvish force here now out in front of the Agmar fortress, trying to defend that as much as possible, but Haldir's and his gang of bandits here going to get pushed back pretty quickly by those upgraded goblins. And here comes another giant attack from our opponent. Our southern team has been able to deal essentially no damage to the infrastructure of their opponents. And actually our Elven player did not actually save for Flood, actually went for Cloudbreak instead. I almost kind of think that was a mistake. Bushit sitting at 20 power points. If he can get up to 25, if he can get maybe the Wolf and take out a ton of these Goblin caves, if he can do some sort of structural damage to prevent the flow of goblins temporarily, he may be, or the elves may be able to gain a strong position in the game, where they basically can position themselves in a good spot to, to take out these units sort of as they spawn, to push forward and create some sort of a forward camp where they can sort of begin to put on some pressure to their opponents. However, until that time, He's still sitting in the back of his base trying to defend. The bottom team been on defensive in defense now for quite some time. Waldir up to level 7. Needs to get to that next level of Summon Helmet ability. I believe it's not until level 10 though in patch 2.02 version 4. Where he will be able to summon a few additional units there with that summon. And still out onto the field. However, these are mainly being used as long-range damage to units. And they haven't really been utilized for structure damage in quite some time. Again, the goblin attacks get cleaned up quite easily, but not before they do a little bit of damage just because there's so many of them. To the right side, the Elven player's base looking to be in a little bit of trouble. The Wildman summon goes down as well. This game continuing to be pretty long. Here comes an attack. Finally, we have an attack here by Agmar. Not sure how he got these units in here, but he is dealing a lot of damage. 3 of the goblin caves go down. Finally, Bushit realizing, hey, I need to stop this flow of goblins from constantly harassing me, has launched a counterattack. Might be able to get an additional goblin cave. Yes, he will. And actually, he should be up to 25 now, if not very, very close. We do actually have, actually it's going to be the Avalanche ability that he has chosen to utilize at this point. But here comes a huge attack from the front. Once again, the Summon Eagles goes down. They should be able to take out the Mountain Giants very quickly, so that gives him the ability to use that Avalanche wherever he wants. Did manage to throw it down right here. It looks like I just missed it, just caught the aftermath of it. But once again, he has now stopped all production of goblins, or goblin warriors and goblin archers, and that should now temporarily give them a break, at least after they deal with this current wave, as I don't think any additional goblin caves have been thrown down at this point. He has a builder right here. Where is he actually taking it though? And Lazarus not producing anything right now. I don't think he has a builder, or this is his only builder. As you can see, he actually has 3 builders queued up at this point, as he's realizing oh, it looks like he does have 2 builders up here. So I guess he's just rebuilding the goblin caves at a more forward location than right next to his base, and has those additional builders on the way to speed up that reproduction of those caves. However, as soon as these goblins are taken out, there's going to be a slight lull in the action, as goblins are not going to be endlessly streaming into the base. We'll manage to get that Elven builder though. That's going to be a great pickup for him. The goblins now moving slightly more to the south to begin dealing with one of these Malon trees. But they should be cleaned up quite quickly, and now the elves, this is what I was talking about, the elves are now able to push forward to potentially establish a forward command center, really, or a forward launching, or staging point is I think the word that I'm trying to think of. This Dwarven builder venturing into pretty dangerous territory, has not been spotted by the elves, but could be focused down, but he's going to actually manage to get through. Actually, Hawaldir focusing him down, and then deciding not to focus him down. The mine shaft goes down. That deals a pretty substantial amount of damage to some of these units. Here come the dwarves. Sayang aiding his ally Lazarus right now, as most of his units are down at this time. The dwarves are able to focus down these Ents very quickly, as they did pop out right next to them. However, the forward mine goes down, so there will be no more reinforcements from that mine. But with both of the Ents down, his structural damage is incredibly nerfed. A beacon has been placed down here by potentially Bushit, saying, hey, here's where the goblin caves are, or potentially by JeePers. I'm not actually sure who placed it down. We do have a 25 power now for JeePers. Interested to see what he would choose. Summon Dragon, once again, almost up on the field. What a great game between all of these players. I thought so many times that the lower right-hand side team was going to lose their fortress, but they're continuing to fight the Elvish heroes, continuing to deal so much damage, able to take on this entire Dwarven army. Legolas is retreating, but Haldir and a couple of these Noldor warriors able to stick it out and will hold the middle against that Dwarven attack. The Dwarven builder's still alive down here. We'll be able to take out the Goblin Riders before they even get in range here. And let's see what JeePers has chosen. Still not making up his mind. The Watcher is available to Lazarus, though. Cloudbreak has been bought for Sayang. Bushit does not have any spells for a while. Really interested to see what JeePers purchases. I believe Cloudbreak is that center spell, so he should have either Flood available to him or Sunflare. That is the other one, and that's the one he has chosen. Could choose to use it on these troops right here, but almost would be better, once again, taking out the Goblin Mines. We'll have to see how he wants to utilize that. I'm not sure I'll catch it. Could you throw down the Watcher right here, though? I think that'd be a great place for the Watcher right now to allow these Goblin troops to move sort of freely around the backside here. Lazarus here trying to gain whatever advantage he possibly can. Once again, focusing down the mines. There goes the Watcher. A little bit later than I would have expected, but still in a great position by Lazarus that will allow temporarily some of these goblins to move freely. There goes the Summon Dragon ability down by Lazarus as well. Are we going to have the Sunflare being utilized maybe right here? I mean, these units are so cheap, you don't want to waste Sunflare on that, though. The Summon Dragon dealing a huge amount of damage to these buildings and taking very little. There's not a lot of damage being dealt here by our Elven player. He does not have the necessary troops in the back to defend against the Summon Dragon. Will lose a majority of his structures here. He's going to lose the Entmoot, and I think both of these barracks as well. And our Elven player, severely crippled right here, has thrown down a beacon placed by JeePers, saying, hey, freeze my buildings here, I need to save these, but not fast enough was the spell by Bushit. So it looks like he has it available, but didn't realize it was happening, and now the fortress potentially under siege by some of these players. Did Sunflare go down? Still sitting with that in his back pocket. He is rapidly losing his base here. Where are the Elven heroes? They are to the north, taking out a couple of random Goblin Warriors. They need to get down here and defend this infrastructure as quickly as possible. Goblin Warriors now focusing on Bushit's base. The Summon Worm ability goes down by Lazarus. He's gained so many power points very recently by the amount of damage he has dealt. Both of these bases in a ton of trouble right now. Haldir is back out on the field, but I don't know for how long with the amount of enemy summons out on the field. Sunflare still not utilized. The Balrog going to be up soon as well. Bushit not close to any more spells either. Now upgraded Men of Dale with the Fire Archers moving in. This Elven Barracks that has recently, or I'm not sure when this was built, but that will go down as well. So now he now has no unit production structures on the field, so the Elves in a critical position right now in terms of unit production, desperately trying to throw down additional barracks. He wants to get out more units, most likely has the funds, but at this point just does not have the production capability. The Summon Dragon finally leaving. The Worm is still alive, needs to reposition it though to a place most likely closer to the fortress. I think is going to be the right choice. These Men of Dale still alive. Looks like with the Elven heroes here, though, they should be able to push this attack back temporarily. But the majority of the dwarves actually to the south here now beginning to work down the fortress. Could use the Sunflare on them should he choose to. It really hasn't been a great spot for the Sunflare, though. I mean, this is what, 2 or 3 units of dwarves that you could use it on? Really, you want to use it on a giant army or on a ton of structures. Here comes the Mountain Giants once again by Lazarus. He is going now for the kill with the damage being going to be focused on taking out that fortress. Haldir now getting focused down by a lot of these troops. The Elven heroes now looking to be in a lot of trouble. Tom Bombadil summon is going to be pretty effective, especially with that Sonic Wave. Wow. That deals so much damage when those units are clumped together. Hwaldar, still alive, is doing alright. Looks like he should manage to hold off this attack to the south. Where's the follow-up attack from our northern team? A single Mountain Giant now moving in. Actually could focus down the level 3 Hall of the King's Men. That might be the right choice right now before these Elven heroes can get to him. Rather than trying to deal a little bit more damage to the fortress, might as well take out the Hall of the King's Men. But actually is going to focus down the fortress. That is right now where he wants to focus his damage. Looks like some units coming in from the south. He's hoping these will distract the Elven heroes before, so the Giants can deal the damage that they need to do. The arrows drop goes down some damage. These upgraded Men of Dale with that Mithril Mail, able to survive that though quite easily. this fortress now sitting at about half health. There goes down the level 3 Hall of the King's Men. Legolas in knife fighter mode here is chasing down Glowin, but there goes the Balrog summon from Lazarus for the 3rd time. A Balrog has joined the fray of this epic battle on this map, Forts of Isen IV, and you guys can see just what great games this map does produce when these players are allowed to sort of support themselves and protect each other. But I think Lazarus here might be able to finally get the Fortress of Bushit, and I think if the Fortress of Bushit goes down, that our Elven player, there's just no way that he can sustain himself against 2 opponents. The Balrog now focusing down the building instead, could go for the Builder with the whip if he sees it. That's gonna be what he wants to do. A summon going down in the back here. The Elven barracks have been built. Actually, did he just walk over him? I think he just literally just stomped over the Builder, so it didn't even bother with the whip or the sword. Why not use your foot when applicable? And now it's going to be moving on to the Elven Fortress instead. And I think, even with the spell going down by Bushit here to stop this Dwarven attack, we see our first half-troll Marauders of the game here about 50 minutes into the game. But Cloudbreak going down as well, but it's not going to stop the Balrog. He will continue to pound away at this fortress for the time being. Could use the whip on the arrow tower here. Looks like for now he just wants to deal the damage to the fortress itself. The End Summon going down, though, in the back of the base here. We are cued that by the music. And Bushit making a random attack here with a ton of the troops on the Fortress of Lazarus. What is happening? I thought this game was over, but here comes a huge summon. Lazarus pulling back all of his troops. He doesn't have... Does his ally have a building heal to give him? I don't know if he'll get it down in time. Even if he has it, he could purchase it, but didn't purchase it in time. The Eagle Summon going down as well. Lazarus losing his fortress could be a big deal. He should have plenty of builders out on the map. But of course that's going to prevent him from using any spells. He might lose his treasure trove as well. All of his structures here under a bit of damage, and in all of this craziness, the attack on the Fortress of Bushit has basically been forgotten about. Here comes an attack by Lazarus across the center. This Work Pit just now going down. Apparently that's been alive all game. The Eagle's now dealing a lot of damage. These units desperately trying to make a huge attack, or these players trying to desperately make a huge attack on Lazarus to take him out of the game. But with these units back here, now focusing down the Ents, I don't know if he has enough structural damage here with the the single Eagle to take out any more of these structures. So I think the main point is that Lazarus's fortress is down. That's going to prevent him from building, having any spells. But now the Fortress of JeePers looking to be in a lot of trouble. Ignoring that one of Bushit's has the upgraded tower here, I just noticed. But the Undermine goes down by the Dwarven player, and here comes a ton of Dwarves. The Sunflare finally being utilized, but it has to be utilized on the units, and that means the Mountain Giants are going to go uncontested. Bushit desperately trying to take them out. They are, in fact, trying to deal with him now, but it is not going to be enough. The Fortress of JeePers goes down. Has he been eliminated from the game? Not quite. He has 1 barracks left. But I don't know if these Mountain Giants... Did he just smack his own ally Goblin there? Because that's kind of funny. As these Mountain Giants now moving, looks like with their eye on the base of Bushit. Could be falling back to reinforcements. Not quite sure where they are headed. As these are Lazarus's, right? No, these are Bushit's. How does he have these? Oh, these are Summon Giants. I didn't realize that he actually had enough power points yet to buy that summon. But yeah, he has used the Summon Giant ability. Has Avalanche almost available to him. But actually have to summon these in defense. That's kind of sad. Honestly, as these are normally used for a surprise attack, kind of like those Ents were earlier. But it looks like they, in fact, will time out right now. And that was actually the majority of his force. Legolas still alive, has not died this entire game to my knowledge. The attack here still continuing by the Goblin player. Lazarus now rebuilding his fortress much closer to his opponents rather than farther away, as he is looking to deal some crucial game-ending damage, which at this point I would say he probably has already done, as we have very little remaining for our Southern team. The remainder of these Elven troops going to get cleaned up. Remember, he only has a single barracks on the field. It has been upgraded. What is he looking at in terms of resources? He actually has 5K, so he could rebuild his fortress if he gets the chance. I think he has one builder alive somewhere on the field. Actually has a hidden barracks back here as well. Just realized. Well, we'll see if he actually gets a chance to throw down that fortress. He will be throwing it down, but the darkness spell by Lazarus signals an impending attack, and here is most likely the attack that is coming. How many Goblin Ks he has now out on the field? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I count that right? Yes, I do count 8 there. So he's producing goblins at pretty much an alarming rate. It's almost unsustainable. However, he has had this outpost. He does have several level 3 mines, I would assume, here in the back. Actually, most of these, it looks like, have been attacked here by Bushit. This is where he's been launching his attacks from. He has a staging location down here to the south. It's guarded by an arrow tower. Has the Wildman of Dunlin production capabilities from this inn, and he's been slowly producing and attacking from the south side here. And I wonder why Lazarus has not taken the time to address this. Maybe he doesn't realize it's there. Maybe he just wants to focus on attacking the main base of Bushit. This has certainly caused him some trouble the entire game, as I've sort of randomly glanced back at Lazarus's fortress at his spawning area up here, and these units have been running up here, causing a lot of strife for quite some time now. The goblins around the backside will begin to focus down some of the remaining infrastructure of JeePers. Will begin to lose that barracks, as well as almost all of his Malar entries here, and that's going to put him in a very difficult position, throwing down some additional Malar entries to try and keep up his income as best he can. But the truth is, at this point, guys, there isn't much that the southern team can do, I think, to hold off these units. Yes, he almost has Avalanche. Actually, he's used Avalanche. I don't know where he used that, but actually, who's sitting at 29 power points? It is going to be Lazarus. I think he has basically every spell in the game at this point. Actually, I think if you buy every spell, it spills into the next. It spills into the next area here. Although that might have something that was fixed in patch 2.02. Not sure, to be honest. Haven't seen a game really go this long with this many power points in quite some time for version 2.02. So, what a treat here to be able to watch this game go this long. But I think we are nearing its conclusion, as all of these goblins being split up into different attack groups are being moved around the map in an attempt to surround the remaining forces of Bushit and of JeePers. Sayang and Lazarus now moving in. There's a ton more troops back here. They're just sitting around. They need to push forward and attack. This needs to be an all-in attack with all of their troops to really sort of seal this victory, as there's basically nothing left on the map for these lower players. Spiderling summon goes down. Legolas now in trouble, and for the first time this game, Legolas actually in a significant amount of trouble. Actually, maybe for the second time. He was in a little bit of trouble earlier, but managed to escape from it. Looks like he might be able to do so again. Now will survive with a minuscule amount of health. Does have this attack to continue to worry about, though. Glowin pushing in from the front with a group of Guardians. That Catapult's still alive, dealing some surprising damage, or at least scaring away troops that get in range. The Troll Stone Thrower is the actual technical name. I like Catapult, though, as that's kind of what it is. Looks like this attack will be cleaned up. Glowin should actually most likely fall here to Legolas, even though with Legolas being level 10, he just deals so much damage so quickly that I'm not sure Glowin can even escape from this. Lazarus now surrounding the backside with a ton of troops, and what a great play, or what great play this game by Lazarus, really sort of taking this game into his own hands with the constant attacks, with the spells that he's been able to utilize, the amount of damage that he's been able to do. Really, really impressive play by him, and some really good holds, though, by our lower team, who has been on the defensive for quite some time now, I feel like. And at this point, I think we're just waiting for a giant attack to happen. But Bushit not one to give up easily, continuing those attacks from the south, Looks like for now that is going to be distracting Lazarus and the dwarves from a full-out attack, as they do want to clean up all of the rough edges first before moving to the delicious center. Of course, the delicious center being these bases here and the sweet, sweet taste of victory after an hour-long game. Looks like these goblins will get cleaned up. Legolas utilizing his arrow in their ability to remove them from the field, but the follow-up attack, I mean, what can he really do? Finally, this base to the south going to get taken out here by the dwarven player, actually. Helping out is Sayang, who really didn't see too much of these units as they were focused on Lazarus' base almost every time I think that they came up to attack. The catapults now in range of the arrow tower and the Hall of the King's Men. Looks like it will focus down that building first, but actually gets canceled by Bushit. He'd rather have the money at this point in the game, or he'd rather speed to the end. Either way, those will get canceled. That is going to prevent additional power points from being gained by our dwarven player as well. Needs to push forward with the remainder of these units. One thing we haven't seen this game is Gollum. No player utilizing the ring. I did hear Gollum a second ago. That's why I mentioned it. However, I don't actually know where he is. An attack here being launched by Bushit with that taint ability. I believe it's called taint, isn't it? Excuse me, blight ability. So he is going to be able to get some damage done here, but this is not enough that these whites can do. Their time limit is pretty short, so they can't deal too terribly much damage here to this infrastructure. Finally, the ring is on the field. We could see a player utilize a ring hero. However, it's so late in the game, and I feel like the lower right-hand team is so far behind that there's not going to be enough time really to utilize the ring of power. Wow, this game's still going on here, as these units will actually take out a couple of goblin caves. Actually had 8 at one point, so now just down to 4. But here comes the long-awaited attack from the goblins. I don't know why he doesn't have more siege equipment in here. His unit's actually not upgraded. He has turned on the Tainted Land bonus, though. The arrow drop once again going down with the freeze spell. A great split there by Lazarus. If you guys don't know how to do that, you can select all of your units and click the X button, and they will scatter in all different directions. It's a great way to dodge that arrow drop attack if you see it in time, but you have to do it immediately. It has to be an immediate reaction, otherwise you will not get away. There goes the double arrow drop once again. Looks like all of those goblins will get taken out. Actually, it was a triple arrow drop. But the goblins on the lower right-hand side still being a pest. Looks like this area trying to be utilized for farmland. Here comes the catapult of the dwarves. He needs to push an attack. The lower side has finally been taken out, though, so dwarves coming from the center and from the lower west-hand side as well. It's going to be 2 fronts that our lower team has to deal with here. And one person I don't see on the field right now is Legolas. I'm wondering if he finally was killed. Actually, nope. He's standing right there in perfect health. So Legolas able to still survive. Thranduil has not made a reappearance this game after being killed off early on. These dwarven catapults dealing a surprising amount of damage as they continue forward. Needs to launch a multi-pronged attack, though. I don't know why he has all these units sitting in the back here, launched from different directions to deal additional damage, Sun Tzu says. But the other barracks now in a lot of trouble. Here comes the Ice Blast attack from the fortress, but it didn't actually kill both catapults. This catapult remains, and that means the Elven Barracks will, in fact, go down. That is the upgraded Elven Barracks. That is not something that he wants to lose at this point in the game, or really ever. But it is, in fact, going to go down. Cloudbreak going down. Darkness going down to cancel out Cloudbreak. As you can see, those rays of sun being slowly dimmed out here by the ever-approaching darkness, as Lazarus actually doesn't have a force to push forward with here, though. However, he does have the Watcher available to him. What about the Summoned Dragon is what I'm wondering. Ah, there it is. The Summoned Dragon is available, where now he's letting his ally the dwarves here push forward and deal some, take sort of the blunt of the attack here. Would love to see the Summon Dragon maybe right there on those archers that are shooting from afar. Summon goes down by Agmar. He's trying to save his base as long, or for as long as he can. Lazarus is just not pushing forward with powerful units. One thing that we have not seen from the goblins is going up to some higher tier units. Would love to see half-troll marauders, half-troll swordsmen fully upgraded, more spiderlings or spider riders maybe. You know, something other than these goblin warriors, which really just don't do a significant amount of damage. And on top of that, they get taken out so quickly. One arrow drop and his entire attack force is basically depleted. There's some spider riders. We'll manage to get a builder here to the north, which is going to be a nice pickup. The dwarven catapults now in range of the fortress, though, will begin shooting that. Actually don't deal as much damage as you would think. Do deal some, though. It's not negligible, that's for sure. And they will get quite a few shots off here before they go down. The fortress actually might fall below half health. That's going to put it in a great position maybe for that dragon summon to take out the remainder of it. The catapult in the front actually goes down on that fortress. The summon goes down by Bushit, though, in an attempt to hold off this attack. The catapult's still alive, half health. Will get 2 more shots off, or a single shot, which is a double barrel shot for the catapult, though. And the fortress now sitting at incredibly small amount of health glowing in here as well. You can see by the those rings around the fortress, but the snowbind goes down. King Dane now up to level 2. Looks like he was finally reproduced here. The fortress of Bushit looking to be in a lot of trouble, though. What is he sitting at for power points? Does not quite have that additional 25 yet. So will not have that Shade of Wolf being summoned. What we don't see being utilized is the Summon Dragon. I don't know why he hasn't thrown down the Summon Dragon to finish off this fortress. I think that's exactly what Lazarus needs to do right now. He may be waiting for Sauron to really finish the game. I mean, sure, why not? That's a pretty epic finish, let's just be honest. And actually, that is what he is doing, as Sauron has now made his way onto the field, and Azog being built for the first time this game. Unbelievable. He has waited for 1 hour and 7 minutes into the game to actually build a goblin hero. I don't think he built an entire goblin hero this game, as Lazarus really a fan of utilizing the units to their maximum potential. And with Sauron on the field, the lower right hand team pretty much finished. Let's just be honest here, guys. Things are not looking good for them. Sauron now pushing slightly forward. Will high five King Dane as he leaves the battlefield. Sauron will push in. And most likely what he's waiting to do is launch a final attack with Sauron with all of these troops and with the Summon Dragon ability. Does he have the Balrog as well? That would be pretty epic. Yes, he does. And the Worm and the Watcher. And the Bats, but that's not nearly as epic as all that other stuff. So, what you guys are about to witness is something incredible. Something so powerful. Something so destructive that you have never seen it before in a cast. I know I haven't seen this many spells being cast at once. So get ready for this team. If they are your favorite players, if you love them, close your eyes. This may be too terrible to watch, as they are about to get completely annihilated. This is going to be incredibly painful for this team. The summon goes down, or the whirlwind goes down to take out the goblins, but that's not the real attack. That is a far cry. Here comes the real attack. It is going to be the Balrog summon. It is going to be Sauron. Where is the Dragon summon? The Dragon summon to the north. Where is the Worm summon? Where is the Watcher? He doesn't actually have anything to use the Watcher on. There's the Worm. The Giant's now in range. The summon Ent goes down by the Elvish player, but that's not really a good spot for them, as they really don't deal a lot of damage to these units. The fire attack goes down by Sauron as well. I believe it's Firestorm, Fires of Doom. And now the Elven Fortress under a lot of stress here. The final building for Bushit, I believe it is this. The Watcher goes down to deal with the Ents. He doesn't really need to deal with the Ents, though. I mean, Sauron here isn't really affected by them at all, and he should be able to finish out the game by himself. Bushit, I don't know why you're building this Hall of the King's Men. This is game over, buddy. As this epic game will come to an end here, as JeePers is eliminated. Bushit, the last remaining player for the Southern team. Congratulations to Sauron, number 1, to Lazarus, number 2, and to Sayang, number 3, as all of these players playing an incredible game, putting out a great show for us here of both skill and length and tactics. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. As before, guys, leave a suggestion down below in the comments. What would you like to see on my channel? As I will be reading through those and taking some suggestions. So do that. Of course, guys, feel free to check out the GameReplays.org website for more information. We do have some big events planned coming up. Things are in the works. Don't want to give a timeline quite yet, but definitely stay tuned for some pretty great and awesome stuff that is coming up. I hope you guys enjoyed this cast. Once again, I'm Master Cloud. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this cast. It is very much appreciated. I will see you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Master Cloud signing out.